Oh, it is week 10. RotoBros Start Sit Thursday. Welcome in. RotoBros Live Start Sit Thursday. Week 10 edition. Guys, we are 9 weeks away from the end of the season. We're even less weeks away from the start of the fantasy playoffs. So I know a lot of you guys are, I know every single person here watching is ready for the playoffs because you're like, you maybe only have one win or one loss, 2 losses, 3 losses. You've been watching the show all year. So of course you're doing great. Of course you're the number 1 team, a top 3 team in your league, right? That's how it goes. Thank you guys for hanging out. We're going to see if we can get you guys ready for week 10. We got Ravens and Dolphins coming up here a little less than an hour. However, a lot of big news coming out today with Odell Beckham. So hopefully, if he was dropped in your league at any point this year, hopefully you were able to scoop him up before he signed with the Rams. Because now you have Odell Beckham Jr. playing for the Los Angeles Rams, high-octane offense that's going to throw the ball a lot. So we'll kind of get to this a little bit before we get to some of these start-sit questions. But if you have any start-sit questions for the week, go ahead, bring them in. And we'll get to those here in just a second. But what should you expect from OBJ? Because I know a lot of people have that question. And a lot of people are wondering, should I trade for OBJ? Should I start OBJ? Do I need to pick him up? Yes, you should pick him up if he's available. But look, I don't know. I think this is a death blow for Van Jefferson. You can cut Van Jefferson outside of Dynasty. He's done. Robert Woods, I don't know that's a death blow for Robert Woods, but it's about as close as humanly possible, right? Like, Robert Woods was barely startable before, and now, Odell Beckham's going to come into L.A. He's easily the wide receiver 2, the number 2 option on that totem pole. This is a bad thing for Tyler Higbee as well, the starting tight end. So, Darrell Henderson, his value remains relatively unchanged. I've heard some people talk about Cooper Kupp's going to lose some touchdown equity. I'm not going that far. Cooper Kupp's going to be fine. He's number 1 on this offense for a reason. He's going to be just fine. I don't think his value necessarily goes up or goes down really at all. So I think you can calm down Cooper Kupp owners. You're going to be just fine. I've got Kupp in a lot of leagues, so I'm holding on tight. But I think this could be a big thing for OBJ. Now, I'm not saying he's going to come back and be, New York Giants Odell Beckham Jr. I'm not saying he's going to be high-end, wide receiver 2 or even low-end wide receiver 1 in fantasy. But he's definitely more fantasy relevant playing with a much better quarterback on a much better offense for a much more fantasy-friendly passing attack. And again, he's the number 2 option there, and he's going to be fed his targets, something that he wasn't done in Cleveland. So if you've got OBJ, if you held strong, or if you recently traded for him or picked him up, I think you're going to really like the returns you're going to get coming down the stretch, coming into this playoff chase here for the fantasy playoffs. Again, he's probably not going to be a game changer, not going to be old OBJ, but he is going to be fantasy relevant. Could he be a wide receiver 2 in fantasy the rest of the year? Absolutely. That's where I'm at on that. That's where I'm at. He's much better than Robert Woods still. So I don't think that I think he's already has probably more value than Robert Woods did. So I think that's kind of where we're at on OBJ right now. All right, questions are coming in. Let's go ahead and get to them. First question of the night, Bateman or Jalen Waddle. They're playing each other tonight. Marquise Brown is back. Sammy Watkins is active, so that's going to be less targets. This team already doesn't throw the ball that often. They're still very, very run heavy. They're going to throw the ball, but Rashad Bateman's not going to get a lot of targets. Okay, even with Tua not starting, it's going to be Jacoby Brissett again tonight. Even with Tua not starting, Jalen Waddle's going to get more targets. He's going to be more heavily involved in the offense than Bateman is, more than likely. But Jalen Waddle is the guy that you got to start tonight over Rashad Bateman. Half-point PPR, wide receiver help. Bryan Edwards, Christian Kirk, Jarvis Landry, or Tim Patrick, pick 2. Look, if it's me, I kind of rolled the dice in a couple leagues last week with the whole situation with Henry Ruggs that moves up Bryan Edwards on the totem pole of targets. It didn't really work out. He had a tasty matchup against the Giants. Didn't really do anything, right? So, that kind of, you lose a little bit of that confidence. You lose a little bit of that trust with Bryan Edwards. I cut him almost across the board in my redraft leagues this week so that I could pick up guys like Eno Benjamin or Ramondre Stevenson and guys like that. So for me, I'm taking Jarvis Landry because now he can get back to being that target hog, that ball hog that he was, that we remember him being in Miami from his Dolphins days. OBJ's gone. That's a good thing for Jarvis Landry. But this week it's going to be tough. I don't think they're going to win this game against New England. I love New England's defense this week. I don't think Baker's going to have a great game. And so this, I think Jarvis Landry is kind of a roll of the dice play, but I think he's a better play than Kirk, and I think he's a better play than Edwards. So I'm going Jarvis Landry, and I'm going to go Tim Patrick. I told you guys about Tim Patrick on Sunday. I was like, look, this guy plays better. He's a better fantasy asset when Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy are on the field. So he's more relevant when he's got more competition, which is odd, right? But Tim Patrick just always seems to come through. So give me Tim Patrick and Jarvis Landry there. Chase Hoke, Myles Gaskin, or Jordan Howard. I got to go Jordan Howard right now, man. Jordan Howard's right now, back-to-back games. He's red hot. Go ahead and give me Jordan Howard. I'm not really that crazy about Myles Gaskin tonight, especially in a game where they're probably going to be throwing a little bit more. They'll probably have to play catch-up, I think, with the Ravens. And back to the for the user for the first question, that's a good thing for Jalen Waddle that they're going to be throwing and probably playing from behind, I would imagine. But yeah, Jordan Howard this week for me, Chase, if I have to choose between he and Myles Gaskin. Damien Harris or Dearness Johnson. Now, Damien Harris and Ramondre Stevenson have both been dealing with, they've been in concussion protocol, so we don't even know if they're going to play. I mean, it could be Brandon Bolden and J.J. Taylor out there starting for the Patriots in the backfield. So we don't really know. It is hard to bench Damien Harris. It's very hard to bench Damien Harris when he plays. But I have told you guys for weeks, I told you guys before the start of the season, Ramondre Stevenson is going to be becoming more and more and more and more involved in the offense. And what happened last week? Looked pretty damn good, didn't he? So, and that's only making Belichick happy. So he's going to put Ramondre Stevenson into these games more and more and make it more of this RBBC that we have seen from New England before, and it's going to be one of those headache backfields, I think. So if you have Damien Harris, now might be a better time to sort of sell high if you possibly can. I'm going to be honest with you. Look, Nick Chubb's out, Kareem Hunt's out. Dearness Johnson has been money every time he started this year. Every time he's gotten the bulk of the carries. It's going to happen again this week. Look, I think this is going to be, I don't think the Browns are going to win, but I think it's going to be a close game. And I think New England is going to run the ball. I think the Browns are going to be running the ball a lot, especially behind that offensive line. And I think not having OBJ there, that's not exactly going to make them be more pass heavy, right? So I think this is going to be a good game for Dearness Johnson. I'm going Dearness Johnson over Damien Harris. You may be forced to because Damien may not play due to concussion injury, but he should play, and if he does, I'm still going Dearness Johnson here. Jonathan Dow from YouTube. Gaskin or Sutton? Man, what do you say about Cortland Sutton? Like, we were all excited about his return this year, and he hasn't been that dude, right? Like, he just has not been that guy. He's very, very hit or miss. I'm going to go with Gaskin, and the only reason I don't really like either of these guys this week, but the only reason I'm going to go with Gaskin is because he should see more volume, more overall touches. Okay, he can score more points in more ways because he's running back. So I'll go with Myles Gaskin, but I wouldn't expect anything, Dow. I would keep your expectations low here, but I'll just take the guy who simply is going to touch the football more in totality. Hollywood Brown or Stephon Diggs? It's going to be Stephon Diggs every single week. There's not going to be a week ever. I don't care what the matchup is. You're going to start your best players, your elite players, I should say, week in and week out. And you're like, oh, well, Stephon Diggs isn't that. Stephon Diggs is an elite wide receiver. Like, he's a top-tier wide receiver. He should only continue to get better. Look, especially now that Dawson Knox is coming back. You got to remember that. Dawson Knox at tight end is going to be coming back this week. So that's going to free up some pass coverage for Stephon Diggs. So he should see a little more freedom, I would think, having another, talented weapon across the field from him. So I would say it's definitely going to be Stephon Diggs. I know Hollywood Brown is like, he's got a good matchup, and well, he arguably has a good matchup. Xavier Howard, he is going up against Xavier Howard tonight. But, again, he's the home run threat. He might have 4 receptions for 110 yards and 2 scores. He could, yeah. But the odds are lower. And I'm always going to give you the highest play with the play with the highest odds. And the odds are Stephon Diggs. Like, are you really going to bet against Stephon Diggs for Hollywood Brown? I'm not. I'm just not. So Hollywood Brown might have a good game tonight, but I think the odds are greater that Stephon Diggs has a better game this week. So give me Stephon Diggs. Jerry Jeudy or Hunter Renfro? I'm going to go Hunter Renfro, man. Hunter Renfro is he's the de facto wide receiver 1 outside of Darren Waller. He's the de facto wide receiver 1 for the Raiders right now. Okay. He's got a juicy matchup with Kansas City. Are you kidding me? And if Kansas City for some reason flips the switch this week and becomes the old KC, they're probably going to start blowing out the Raiders. Well, what does that mean? We'll be throwing the ball a lot. Hunter Renfro. So to me, I don't see that there's any way that Hunter Renfro has a bad game. I think Hunter Renfro, I don't think he's going to be like, catching 116 yards and, all that kind of stuff. But I do think he could be a volume hog this week. I could see 7, 8, 9 catches for, 60 to 80 yards. I don't see any reason why that is not a very reasonable stat line for him this week, with a touchdown maybe. So I'll go with Hunter Renfro this week. I think Hunter Renfro, right now, he's the better fantasy. I think Judy's the better player, but Renfro's the better fantasy play. He's in the better situation with a better, supposed game script matchup. So give me Hunter Renfro there. Let's see. Dan Masterman, PPR, need 3 wide receivers. Amari Cooper, Michael Pittman Jr., and Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle. So here's the thing, Dan. The question is not you need 3. You only need 2. Or no, I'm sorry, you only need 1. Because the question is between Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle. You're never benching Amari Cooper and Michael Pittman. Every week, Michael Pittman and Amari Cooper should be automatics. Set it and forget it. You're never going to bench either of those 2 guys for Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle. So the question is actually, you just need 1 wide receiver. So it's between Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith. I think Waddle will probably touch the ball more. But I'm gonna go Devonta Smith. I think you need to keep expectations in check. I don't think you should expect much from either of these guys. But I'm gonna go Devonta Smith here. Again, I told you guys over the summer that Devonta Smith to me is going to be a league winner this year. He's going to be a guy that has a few blow-up games down the stretch, gets people into the playoffs, and maybe even wins you some championships. So I think Devonta Smith is a guy you really want to hold on to right now in redraft, and you want to be patient with. I think some more of the big games like last week are coming. I'm going to go Devonta Smith this week. Kyle Patterson, start Mike Gesicki tonight or Noah Fant this weekend in PPR. I mean, they've both been really good this year. I will go with Mike Gesicki, only because I know Noah Fant is healthy, and I'm deploying him in the one league that I do have a share of him in. But again, Cortland Sutton's healthy, Tim Patrick's healthy, and Jerry Jeudy's healthy. It's Teddy Bridgewater. That's a lot of mouths to feed for a guy like Teddy Bridgewater that isn't, he's not Aaron Rodgers, he's not Pat Mahomes, obviously, so he's not a guy that can really support, a bunch of high-end fantasy games. One of these guys is going to have a great game, and you got 4 choices here. Last week it was like Tim Patrick. Now you got 4 choices, okay, that you can roll with. So the odds to me is like you got like a 25% chance almost to have a decent game. I'm going to go with Mike Gesicki based on pure volume. On volume alone, I'm going to go with Mike Gesicki there. Half-point PPR, wide receiver help. Okay, that was one from earlier. It's going to be Landry and Patrick there. Joseph Woods, Devonta Smith, or Julio Jones. Devonta Smith. I'm not excited about it, but I mean, do we really expect Julio Jones to have a better odds to have a bigger game than Devonta Smith? No. I'm gonna go Devonta Smith. I can't advise anybody to start Julio Jones right now. So it's Devonta Smith for me. Bateman or Jerry Jeudy as the wide receiver 3, half-point PPR. I will go with Jerry Jeudy based on, again, volume. I trust that situation more. Sammy Watkins is active tonight. That's another body in the passing game, in a low-volume passing game that Rashad Bateman is going to have to compete with for targets. So, no, go ahead and give me Jerry Jeudy there. Kyle Mulkey says, Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, PPR league for his RB2. Let's see. That's a tough one. I would typically say Michael Carter because he's getting the majority of the rushes and of the pass catches. I'm going to go with Javonte Williams here. I told you guys, this is another thing that I told you guys all summer long. Javonte Williams is going to be a big-time threat for Melvin Gordon down the stretch. You saw him have the big game last week with 111 rushing yards. The guy is good. I mean, he is damn good, and he's going to get it done. Javonte Williams, to me, I think he's got a good matchup against this week as well against Philadelphia. So to me, I think the answer is almost clear with Javonte Williams. Give me Javonte Williams here over Michael Carter and Melvin Gordon. Let's see. For the flex spot, Jerry Jeudy, Hunter Renfro, or Pat Freiermuth. I love me some Pat Freiermuth. But I will go with Hunter Renfro over both this week. Again, volume and matchup, I think it leans toward Hunter Renfro here. Saints D or Titans D? I'm not really wild about either one of them, but I think if I had to go with one, obviously, I'm going to go with the one with the worst quarterback. I'm going to go with the defense that is playing against the worst quarterback. Go ahead and give me the Titans defense, man. They're playing each other, and I would be a little more frightened of playing the Saints defense on the road in Tennessee against a much better offense. Yeah, go ahead and give me the Titans D over the Saints D there as well. Zach Myers, Pitts versus Dallas, Gesicki tonight against Baltimore. You know that answer. Zach. Kyle Pitts every week. And everybody's going to say, oh, wait a minute. Calvin really didn't play last week, and look what Kyle Pitts did. The Falcons also did not have a they weren't able to prepare for Kyle Pitts for Kyle Pitts. They did not have a game plan for Kyle Pitts without Calvin Ridley. That's the thing. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind as well. Kyle Pitts, to me, it's the ceiling, man. There's a much higher ceiling, and this is a game. Dallas and Atlanta. Could be a shootout. Could be a fantasy fest. Just saying. Kyle Pitts, to me, is definitely the choice there. Manil says, Le'Veon Bell, Kenny Gainwell, or Derek Gore. Man, you have got to find another option. You got to find another option, bro. It's not going to be Derek Gore. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to come back this week. It's going to be between Le'Veon Bell and Kenny Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell got in the end zone last week after disappointing the week prior. Le'Veon Bell, Latavius Murray, I don't believe is active. So you got Devonta Freeman, you got Le'Veon Bell, you got Tyson Williams. I'm going to go Kenny Gainwell, I guess. I'll go Kenny Gainwell. I'm not excited about it. I'm not excited about him or Bell, but I'll take Kenny Gainwell here between the two. What do we do about Julio going forward? You do not expect much. That's what you do going forward with Julio Jones. Do not expect much out of him at all. He cannot be trusted, obviously, clearly. And he's having trouble staying healthy again. So I cannot advise you to start Julio. Julio's a cut candidate. You realize that Julio's a cut candidate. You cannot trade Julio Jones. Nobody's going to trade for him. He's going to sit in there and rot on your bench. I don't know who you have in free agency, but you might want to take a look at it. You could flat out drop Julio Jones, and I don't think anybody's going to bat an eye at you. If Kamara doesn't go, Ty Johnson, Boston Scott, or Bolden if RMS is out. I'm going to go with Ty Johnson, and I'm going to tell you why. Ty Johnson is very involved right now in the passing game in the receiving game for the Jets. And that in PPR, hopefully this is PPR, not standard. In PPR, That is valuable. And Ty Johnson has been having some pretty decent games for a number 2 option on a dreadfully bad offense. I'm going to go Ty Johnson here. I think the floor is higher. Ceiling's not high. The ceiling is not high. I don't think the ceiling's high with any of these guys. The floor is higher with Ty Johnson. So with those options there, you're just looking for somebody for those safe points to try to get you through the week, score as many as possible. Go ahead and give me Ty Johnson there. Gaskin tonight instead of Kamara? Absolutely not. Nope, you roll the dice with Kamara. He should play, but there is a chance he's out. Cross that. Worry about that when you get there. Okay, worry about tomorrow's problems tomorrow. You're not benching Gaskin, or you're not benching Alvin Kamara for Myles Gaskin. It's too early in the week for that. So you're gonna play Kamara as it is right now. Has Jones in my other back with Lock in the flex, or should I see? Yeah, you're going to see what happens with Kamara. I would just be cautious right now, and just be you just monitor that situation. But it certainly looks like, I mean, maybe Mark Ingram's available in your league. I have no idea, but you should be able to find a replacement pretty easily. Eno Benjamin, that's another guy. Eno Benjamin again. Chase Edmonds is out. I know Eno was a popular pickup in a lot of leagues. I don't know what type of league this is, redraft, dynasty, whatever. But look for guys like Eno, maybe Ramondre Stevenson if he plays. Ty Johnson is another one. These are guys to me that have about the same upside as a Myles Gaskin has tonight. So I'm rolling with Alvin Kamara right now, and then I'll figure that out on Saturday night or Sunday morning when Kamara's status is announced there. Keenan Allen or Deebo Samuel. I think I'm going to go Keenan Allen. I'm going to go Keenan Allen here. It's very close. I actually have a dynasty league where I had to make this exact decision, and I did go Keenan Allen. So again, I'm never going to advise you guys to do something that I wouldn't do myself. I put my money where my mouth is. Keenan Allen is going to be the choice for me. I'm not crazy about Deebo's matchup, obviously, this week either. Monday night against the Rams, so we'll see how that turns out. But regardless, I'm going to go Keenan Allen. John's Hero says Crowder or Ty Johnson or T Johnson. You got to let me know what T Johnson is. Ty Johnson, Tyler Johnson. I don't know. But I guess if AB's out, I guess I'll go Tyler Johnson. There's got to be better options on your waiver though. Johns, there's got to be better options. Justin Plum, PPR, DJ Moore or Rashad DJ Moore. 100%. And we know that DJ Moore and Cam Newton now, probably the new starter for the Panthers, has more of a rapport with Cam Newton. So, yeah, go ahead and give me DJ Moore. I'm not benching DJ Moore for Rashad Bateman. Let's see. Michael Carter or Javonte Williams. I will go with Javonte Williams. It is very close to me, for me, but I'm going to go with the better talent here. They're both really good, but I'm going to go with the better talent on the better team. Go ahead and give me Javonte Williams. Josh Brown, Peoples-Jones over DJ Moore, getting frustrated with Moore, or Jerry Jeudy. Okay, so you got 3 legitimate options here. DJ Moore's going to have Cam back. We'll see how that works out. But DPJ is the de facto number 2 now at wide receiver in Cleveland. The good news for him is that he should not draw J.C. Jackson, who's the best cornerback for New England. That should go to Jarvis Landry. If he draws J.C. Jackson in any way, that's a bad thing. I think Peoples-Jones to me, this is how I'll put it for you. Peoples-Jones to me is the ceiling play. That's the one where if you're getting blown out, he's the one, okay, but you don't know if you're going to get blown out or not. He's got the highest ceiling just because of big play upside. I think Jeudy has the highest floor because of the volume he's going to get. And DJ Moore, of course, is the most volatile option right now because we don't know what we're going to get out of Cam, right? So for me, I think I am going to go DJ Moore. I know. I am going to roll the dice with DJ Moore. I know you're getting frustrated, but I'm not going DPJ. Trust your gut, though. If you don't trust DJ Moore, I get it. I won't crucify you, but bench him for Jerry Jeudy if you bench him at all. Because I think your higher floor is with Jeudy. I think DJ Moore now with Cam has a target that he's comfortable with. I think DJ Moore gives you a high ceiling along with a high floor now that Cam is the starter. If it was still Darnold or PJ Walker, I would say easily Jerry Jeudy. But I won't blame you whichever way you go there. Joseph Woods, AB, Landry, or Singletary. If Antonio Brown plays, it's Antonio Brown every week. If he doesn't, it's going to be Jarvis Landry. Kyle Mulkey, Pat Freiermuth, or Dallas Goedert. I will go with Dallas Goedert right now. But I think right now, as 2-3 weeks from now, Pat Freiermuth may be your every week starting tight end because he's that good, and I think Ben is beginning to trust him. And I think the Steelers' passing offense is going to start becoming better and better now that they're incorporating Pat Freiermuth into it more. They have another security blanket for Ben. I'm just saying, he's got his Heath Miller now. He's got his Heath Miller back. Start Eno. I have no idea. I got to know what your team looks like. There are a couple leagues where I'm desperate because of bye weeks or injuries, and I have to start Eno Benjamin. If you have to, I think he's going to have a pretty decent game. I think he's going to be involved. Eno Benjamin was my number 3 ranked running back coming out of that draft class. I love Eno Benjamin. I think he's the best overall, most talented running back in that backfield easily. I really do. And we saw how good his run was last week, right? So I love Eno Benjamin. However, he's not a must start, if that's what you're saying, if that's what you're asking. But again, to just say start Eno, I don't know. I'd have to see what your options are, what your team looks like. Matthew Bright, Goddard, or Hawk. I will go with TJ Hawkinson. Still got to trust him. I still got to trust him right now. But at least you have a reliable backup. So I'm going to go TJ Hawkinson, though, between those two. That's an option that I'm facing in a few leagues as well. Full point PPR, AP, Eno Benjamin or Jordan Howard. I will go with Adrian Peterson. And I'm only going Adrian Peterson because of the touchdown equity. They are at home. They're the better team. They shouldn't have an issue scoring. They never have. He should get plenty of red zone opportunities, I would imagine. I will go with Adrian Peterson. My other one would be Jordan Howard just by a smidge, but I'll go AP just because he's on a better offense and it should be a pretty decent game, I would imagine. Let's see. Jordan Thomas in a ridiculously formatted league, basically in must-win territory. 1 QB Survivor League. Dak or Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson. I think you got to go Lamar Jackson just because he has that rushing upside. And I think his ceiling is obviously higher because of that. And he's got a tasty matchup tonight. Look, he might. You know how Thursday night games seem to be a little wacky sometimes. I get it, and I know a lot of people don't like playing guys on Thursday. I get it. But look, good players show up when it matters, and even if this is a competitive game, if it's like a 24-24 game going in the fourth quarter, that's 24 points. Lamar Jackson's probably responsible for nearly all of them. So I think Lamar Jackson's a good play no matter what. So I'll go with, they're both, I don't think you can go wrong, but I'll go with Lamar Jackson over Dak this week. Let's see. Joe Desano says, what do you think Watkins looks like tonight? I think he looks like garbage. You shouldn't own Sammy Watkins. You should not even in a dynasty. He should not be on anybody's roster in any format league. I don't care how deep it is. Get him off your team and get somebody who is actually going to contribute to your squad. You don't even need to own Sammy Watkins. I know you have it. You said you have injuries and bye weeks. You could go Dan Arnold on Sunday. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I would go Dan Arnold over Sammy Watkins. 100% I would. Dan Arnold is becoming a bigger part of that offense. He is the unquestioned starting tight end on that offense with no DJ Chark. He's getting more targets. I think Dan Arnold is probably going to be your better bet for volume. I do. And now watch Sammy Watkins catch 2 passes for 77 yards and a score, and the score is going to be like a 71-yard touchdown tonight. But I would go with Dan Arnold. I'll go with Dan Arnold. I'll take the trustier option there. But again, Joe, I would look hard at your free agent wire. Let's see what else is there. Do we feel Elijah Moore stays relevant with Corey Davis back, and would you drop Julio for him? Yeah, probably. I'd probably drop Julio for him. However, I'm not starting Elijah Moore. I don't think he's going to be a great start moving forward. This is going to be one of those guys that he plays on a bad team. They were throwing a lot. You're not going to be expecting double-digit touchdowns, even single-digit touchdowns from Elijah Moore this season. He's just not going to be reliable. Love the guy, amazing talent, one of the best talents in this entire draft, top 5 for me, as a matter of fact. But I just don't think the fantasy value is going to be there this year. The reliable fantasy value, I should say. So I'll take Elijah over Julio long term rest of the year. But outside of that, I'm not going to trust him to really do much for me. David Martinez, are we playing James Robinson with confidence if he is a go? Yes, if he is a go. But it does not sound like. It's sounding increasingly less likely that he starts. I have him in a few leagues, so I'm paying attention to that. It looks like Carlos Hyde's going to take the reins again this week. But who knows? If something changes, yes, James Robinson, you're playing him, and you're not even going to think twice about it. Matthew Bright, Javonte Williams, Kenyon Drake, or Ty Johnson. Rank them. I will go with Javonte Williams, Kenyon Drake, and Ty Johnson in that order. And I think Drake and Javonte are much higher than Ty Johnson. I don't mind Ty, but Kenyon Drake is obviously, this is 3 straight games now. Kenyon Drake is obviously a lot more utilized in this offense ever since John Gruden ended up stepping down 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago. Kenyon Drake is a great play, I think, and he has a juicy matchup against the Chiefs. But I will take Javonte Williams here. I would not blame you if you went Kenyon Drake, so trust your gut on that. But I will lean Javonte just by a little bit. PPR: Amari Cooper, Robert Woods, Amari Cooper every single week now. Every single week. I would have probably said that as well before the OBJ signing, but definitely now. Kyler Murray or Matt Ryan. If Kyler Murray plays, it's Kyler Murray. But if not, then you're not going to have a choice. It's going to be Matt Ryan. Would you start DPJ over Waddle or Bateman? I would start him over Bateman. I would not start him over Waddle. I'll take Waddle tonight over DPJ. Manil, Cam will not start this week if I remember correctly. I haven't read anything like that. All indications to me is that he could have every chance to start. I have no idea. He may not play this week. Let's see. Gordon, Gaskin, Moss, or Ingram in PPR. I don't know how many you need to choose, but I'll put them in order. I will go with Melvin. I will go with Ingram. I will go with Gaskin and Moss in that order. Gordon, Ingram, Gaskin, and Moss. Freeman, McKissick, Chubb, Mitchell at running back. Pick 2. You can't bench Elijah Mitchell right now because he's getting so much volume. He's got a lot of trust with the coaching staff. Obviously, he's the go-to guy. So it's definitely Elijah Mitchell. I think Chubb is out this week, unless you mean Chuba Hubbard. You're not going to play Chuba Hubbard. J.D. McKissick has a high floor because he's the primary pass catcher for Washington in a game that could get out of hand with Tampa. I'm going to say, and I don't think Freeman necessarily has a bad game tonight, and I think he's an okay start, but I think that McKissick has the higher floor. I'm going to go J.D. McKissick and Elijah Mitchell here. Brandon McLemore, Bobby Trees or Darrell Williams or Jerry Jeudy in full point PPR. Robert Woods is last here. Robert Woods is last by far. Darrell Williams is probably going to be unseated as the starter now because CEH is going to play, so that leaves Jerry Jeudy, and regardless, I think Jerry Jeudy is going to be the play here. Let's see. Would you cut Sammy Watkins on a 32-team league? It would be a little more difficult, but I would need to see what the options are and how deep the rosters are as well. That would pretty much determine that answer for me. Mike White or Teddy Bridgewater? I will go with Teddy Bridgewater. Start Gesicki and flex Kittle over Ty Johnson, Alex Collins, or DPJ. Yes, I will start Gesicki and I will flex George Kittle over all those players. Now, I would not be upset if you started Kittle at the tight end spot and then flexed Ty Johnson. I wouldn't be upset at you. That would be the only other option. But I'm fine with the former as well. Brandon McLemore, that's a badass bobblehead of Burrow. Yes, Joe Burrow agrees. Joe Burrow agrees. That's the best Joe Burrow bobblehead I could find. And I was like, you know what? Man, riding the Bengal tire, are you kidding me? It's my favorite bobblehead. I love it. I love that thing. Carr versus KC, Rodgers versus Seattle. You are never, ever benching Aaron Rodgers for Derek Carr. Ever. You just can't. I mean, you can say it out loud and it just sounds icky, right? Like I'm gonna bench Aaron Rodgers and I'm gonna start Derek Carr over Aaron Rodgers. How weird does that sound? Can't do it. I know Derek Carr's been good backup quarterback, bye weeks, injuries, whatever. Aaron Rodgers every single week, no matter the matchup. How confident are we that Calvin Ridley comes back as long as the Falcons stay competitive? I don't know that I am confident. I think if the Falcons are competitive, which obviously we are, we're back at 500, and we would make the playoffs. The Falcons would make the playoffs. Isn't that right, Matt? Absolutely. The Falcons would make the playoffs if the season ended today. We'd be a wild card team. How about that? However, it's going to make it a little bit easier, but again, there's really no telling. Like, we don't know. We haven't really even heard anything from him. Like, it's weird, man. It's weird. I think we're still going to be several weeks away from a Calvin Ridley return, if at all. Devonta Freeman, Rashad Bateman, half-point PPR. Devonta Freeman easily. Waller versus the Chiefs. Andrews versus the Dolphins. Waller versus the Chiefs. I'll take Waller versus the Chiefs. Matthew Bright, Bolden, if the others sit, or Gibson, I would go with Gibson out of those options. I'm going to trust Antonio Gibson there. Ty Johnson or Alex Madison. Look, if Alex Madison were to start for Dalvin Cook, it doesn't sound like Dalvin Cook is going to be commish exempt list eligible because it's not I think it's a civil dispute and it's not like a criminal matter, but yet. But I would say that if Alex obviously starts, you would start Alex, but I wouldn't expect it. So you're going to go with Ty Johnson here. Mike Gesicki or Javonte Williams, PPR. Javonte Williams, I'll take the running back over the tight end nearly 100% of the time. Ty Johnson, Tony Pollard, or Jamison Crowder. Jamison Crowder probably doesn't even need to be owned. I don't know how deep the league is. I don't know what's available on your wire. There's probably a better option available on your waiver wire. I'd go ahead and cut ties with Jamison Crowder. Give me Ty Johnson there for sure. And let's see. Looks like that's all the questions for tonight, guys. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. Enjoy the games tonight. We will see you guys on